who actually figured out how to put video games into cartridges you could swap at home? Before 1976, video games were hardwired directly into the console. If you wanted to play a new game, you had to buy a completely new machine. A Smithsonian Magazine feature published on 16 June 2026 steps back to the hardware revolution that broke that limitation. The focus is Jerry Lawson, an unsung engineer who figured out how to separate software from hardware using interchangeable cartridges. The story pauses on a moment in tech history when the future of a massive industry depended on a simple, spring-loaded plastic door. Written in Smithsonian Magazine. Narrated for Arva. America at 250, the revolutionary spark. A Smithsonian Magazine special report. This unsung Black developer unlocked the code to turning a video game console into a virtual living room arcade. Jerry Lawson's Channel F system was the first to put games on interchangeable cartridges, paving the way for Atari, Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation. Lawson, one of the few Black developers among gaming's early innovators, was a tinkerer from a young age. In elementary school in the 1940s, a teacher inspired him by telling him he could be the next George Washington Carver and placing a photo of the famed scientist near Lawson's desk. By middle school, he was building walkie-talkies and even launched an amateur radio station. "I built converters, antennas, everything else," Lawson recalled in a 2009 interview. After spending his teens moonlighting as a TV repairman, Lawson attended Queens College and the City College of New York, though he never graduated. In 1968, he moved to Silicon Valley to join the burgeoning tech industry, landing at Fairchild Semiconductor, inventors of the integrated circuit, the basis for modern computer chips. Lawson's job mostly involved traveling as a consultant for Fairchild customers, but in his spare time, he became a hobbyist in the nascent video game development scene. The industry was spawned by TV manufacturer Magnavox's creation of the original home gaming console, the Odyssey, in 1972, and Atari's release of its landmark game Pong, the nation's first commercially successful arcade game, which debuted that same year. Lawson, for his part, designed the game Demolition Derby, which he set up in a coin-operated arcade cabinet at a local pizza parlor around the same time. When his bosses found out he'd used a Fairchild microprocessor to power it, he was tasked with creating a gaming division within the company. Technological constraints, however, limited gaming's full potential. Early home consoles could play only games that had been programmed directly into them by the manufacturer. Companies released multiple iterations of the same system each year with different game libraries, driving up the cost for consumers. The best way to expand gaming's appeal was to build a console that allowed players to easily swap games. In 1974, the electronics company Alpex developed a prototype that could run games off portable microprocessors encased in protective boxes. But Alpex didn't have the means to commercialize this innovation, so it pitched the idea to Fairchild. Lawson led the project, using the Alpex technology with Fairchild microchips to introduce a new product. "I had to bring it from this proof of performance to reality, something that you could manufacture," he recalled. The result was the Fairchild Channel F, the first home system that let players switch games using cartridges. Released in November 1976, it boasted key innovations. The bright yellow cartridges, modeled after familiar 8-track cassettes, included a spring-loaded plastic door that protected the microchip and connector pins. The Channel F also offered a pause button. The controller, designed by Lawson, became the first home console joystick. Newer models are still used today. Fun fact, far beyond a coin operation, Americans spent more than $60 billion on video games and related purchases in 2025. Familiar names like Battlefield, Monopoly, Madden NFL, and Call of Duty top console and mobile rankings. Recently, video games have received the Hollywood treatment, with theatrical releases of Mortal Kombat and a Minecraft movie, and Emmy-winning TV series The Last of Us and Fallout. Initially, the Channel F was a modest success, but its momentum was quashed when Atari launched a cartridge-based system, the Atari 2600, the following year. Supported by titles such as Space Invaders, the Atari 2600 eclipsed its rivals. Lawson's Channel F, though it laid the foundation for a console with a dynamic game library, faded into obscurity. He soon left Fairchild and founded Videosoft, a company that developed games for Atari systems, including some early 3D titles. However, an oversaturation of games led to a market crash in the mid-'80s, and Lawson shuttered Videosoft before his games reached customers. Shortly before his death in 2011, Lawson started getting his due. He was recognized by the International Game Developers Association that year, and a Los Angeles elementary school was named in his honor in 2012. Scholarships and awards in his name celebrating diversity in the gaming industry have followed. He was able to forge his own path, says Lawson's son, Anderson, a software developer who was inspired by his father. Sometimes you have to step out and do something that nobody else is doing in order to achieve something great. Lawson's innovative cartridge unlocked the medium's potential by easily delivering new software. Modern games are distributed through discs, memory cards, or downloads, all evolutions of what Lawson and Fairchild pioneered.